My name is Justin Decloux, and I'm here today with
Will Sloan.
And you're listening to the Important Cinema Club, and we're the Odd Couple. All right, so who do you think you are, the Jack Lemmon or the Walter Mathau? Look around the room before you guess.
Well, it's actually quite organized in this room. I was going to say that I was Jack Lemmon. He's Felix.
Yeah, you're definitely Jack Lemmon.
I'm fussy and I'm neurotic, and you...
I'm the cool guy who has no money and loves sports.
That's right.
Very literal of those two guys.
So we're turning into the Victorville Film Archive this week. We're talking about the cinema of Jack Lemmon and Walter Mathau, the reigning comedy duo of, well, the 90s and earlier.
And if people are wondering, like, wait, who is Jack Lemmon? Who is Walter Mathau? Classic Hollywood stars. But the real reason we're talking about them is that in the 90s, they came back together, started a movie that was a hit, and Hollywood decided we need to take these old men and keep putting them in movies.
Man, so they appeared together in 10 movies total. That's if you're including JFK, which they're both in, although not together.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
As well as a movie called The Grass Harp, which is still a mystery to me.
Yes, that was directed by Charles Mathau, I believe.
That's the One for Them movie. But basically, there are two movies that are really essential in shaping their on-screen dynamic. The Odd Couple from 1968 and Grumpy Old Men from 1993. These are the two poles of the Lemmon and Mathau filmography that made them a comedy team.
If I asked my parents, or probably my dad, if he knew who Jack Lemmon and Walter Mathau is, I think he would. He would know who they are.
Well, I mean, they were legendary stars.
But if I asked my dad if he saw The Odd Couple, he'd probably be like, oh, no, I haven't seen that movie.
Really?
So they're more totemic than they are like movies that you watch again and again and again.
Well, also, I think the two of them, relatively unique among comedy duos. I think Hope and Crosby are kind of like this too. They are a comedy team who also are probably even more famous solo.
100%.
Jack Lemmon has The Apartment, Some Like It Hot, Glengarry Glen Ross. Walter Mathau has A New Leaf, Taking a Pelham 123, your favorite movie, Dennis the Menace.
Love Dennis the Menace. And I think it's because none of the films they were in together are like comedy classics.
well, the Odd Couple
is undeniable. I think The Odd Couple is a pop culture touchstone. Everybody knows it.
It's an archetype.
Yes, it's an archetype. I had not seen it before this week, and I watched it, and we'll get to it, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty fun.
Well, I also just want to say, just as we're kicking things off, the reason that we're doing Jack Lemmon and Walter Mathau is because last week we did Martha Coolidge,
yes,
whose long and eclectic career includes 1997's Out to Sea. And of course, I was alive when Out to Sea came out. I saw the posters. I saw the VHS box. It has that picture on it of Lemmon and Mathau tangoing together on the front and mugging. And I laugh every time I see this image.
What's funny is that I was very much aware of them as a kid.
Those movies were coming out.
They were coming out, but I never, unlike you, saw any of them.
And I realized before this week, I've seen a majority of these films before. I don't know how that
happens. And you're
happens.
going to rank them? Best to last.
Man. Oh, man, that's a tough one. I've seen a majority of these films before, none of them lately. Mm-hmm. So this week, I had a huge fucking Lemmon and Mathau fest. I am drunk on Lemmon and Mathau.
So let's do something that we don't usually do. We're going to bounce around in time.
Okay.
So it's not going to be like the beginning and then the end.
Oh, and the other thing I just want to say about Out to Sea is we pitched this idea to each other as a joke.
Yes.
And that's how it so often happens on this podcast. We were looking at Out to Sea, and we were like, it's too bad we didn't have time to watch Out to Sea for the Martha Coolidge
I believe
episode.
I said, well, it's because we got to save it for old Lemmon and Mathau.
And then a little light bulb above my head. It's like, yes, a Lemmon and Mathau episode.
People are slamming the desks being like, but what about Sam Peckinpah? To that I say, there's hundreds of podcasts that talk about that stuff.
Get to Sam Peckinpah.
Yeah. And every opinion we have, you will have heard somewhere else.
Yeah, sorry, what do you want? You want to hear that The Wild Bunch is good?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And that his later ones are bad? Yeah, they're bad. The Osterman Weekend.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's start all the way at the beginning with The Odd Couple.
Well, there's one that comes before The Odd Couple.
Oh, The Fortune Cookie?
Yeah, so I saw The Fortune Cookie this week.
Will went rogue on the movies we agreed on to watch.
Well, yes, okay, but you sometimes do that too.
I do, yes.
So this time I was trying to outfox you. I wanted to make sure that we covered the full spectrum of the Lemmon and Mathau appearance. Now, by this, of the Lemmon and Mathau canon. Now, by this time, Jack Lemmon is already an Academy Award winner. He's already made Some Like It Hot, The Apartment. He's Hollywood royalty. Walter Matthau, this is the movie that he won an Academy Award for. This is the movie that made him Hollywood royalty. It's hilarious that he won Best Supporting Actor for this movie because
he's a star.
He is, if anything, the lead.
But he's not handsome enough to be the lead of the film.
This is a Billy Wilder film that's kind of on that cusp. It's at the transition point between classic era Billy Wilder and late period Billy Wilder, the era of Billy Wilder that the auteurs like.
Oh, late period?
Yeah, you know. There are people out there. They ride for Avanti. They ride for Fedora. They ride for the private files of
Friggin'
Sherlock Holmes.
Sweating, being like, what's going to make me stand out? Yeah, I can see the Wilder touch in this.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen Fedora. I'd kind of like to see that one.
We need to do the Billy Wilder episode so I can crack open the Truffaut Hitchcock of our time. Cameron Crowe interviews Billy Wilder.
The Fortune Cookie has a sort of middling reputation in Billy Wilder's filmography. The common take on it for a long time is, it's too cynical and it's not quite clever enough. And I'm here to say, boy, I was disappointed with this movie.
I started it. I watched half an hour of it, and I was like, ugh. 2+ hours.
Oh my God. This is like the less good Ace in the Hole. It's a softer, kind of cynical Billy Wilder movie.
People who complain about it being cynical and, too mean, you're here to say not cynical enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jack Lemmon plays a cameraman.
Yeah, who is filming a football game, and then he gets hit by one of the players.
And he gets a very, very minor injury, gets knocked over, but his brother-in-law, a shyster lawyer, an ambulance chaser, played by Walter Matthau, thinks, we can squeeze some money out of everyone for this.
And it's going to take 2 hours to do it.
So yeah, the premise is established very early. Jack Lemmon is in bed with like a neck brace and all the regalia. Walter Matthau is scheming ways to get money out of this case. Across the street, there are two private detectives who are spying on them on behalf of the football league. Meanwhile, the football player who threw the ball comes in. He becomes a sort of self-lacerating character who's overwhelmed with guilt. I mean, there's an awkward mixture of, I think, like pretty sappy, sentimental stuff with some of these characters and fairly gentle, quote unquote,
like goof 'em ups,
cynical comedy.
Yeah, when he gets hit by the player during the football game, he's like, he gives a thumbs up and like, and he falls backwards.
Like the central idea of like Jack Lemmon, he's being forced to fake this injury. I don't think it builds.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have this farcical momentum of like, okay, so he's faking the injury. Like, let's put him in new situations where he has to maintain this ruse. I don't think it doesn't happen. Like, he's in bed and he just stays in bed for most of the movie. And the premise just keeps getting repeated and repeated and repeated.
Now, a Laurel or Hardy don't visit, do they? To get up to some comedy shenanigans?
Wouldn't that be great if one of them visited and somebody fell out like
the window,
the window or something? So like, I don't know. I think it's a movie that states its ideas very early on and then kind of trudges through them.
But I have here a 200-page defense of The Fortune Cookie written by some French critic, I guess.
Do the French critics like this one? I don't know.
They definitely do. I mean, 100%.
Walter Matthau is very good in this movie.
Yeah.
You can see why this was a star-making vehicle for him. And I do think that this movie establishes the Lemmon and Mathau dynamic. It establishes, why they worked well together, which is that Lemmon is this very affable but also very human everyman. Billy Wilder called him my everyman. He's neurotic. He's sometimes manic. His emotions run the gamut. Mathau is much more stone-faced. He has a voice like gravel.
Frosty chocolate milkshakes. Classic Homer Simpson season 1.
Two of them next to each other, they're kind of like matter and antimatter. They fill in each other's blanks.
So, from a movie that Will didn't like very much, let's move to a movie I'm sure he loved. Grumpy Old Men.
Right, okay, so we're jumping around in time here. And I want to talk about Grumpy Old Men now because this is the movie that, we were growing up in the 90s.
Why Ace Ventura? Why are we grumpy old men kids? We could have been.
I'm not a grumpy old men kid.
We could have been. That's what I'm saying, is that they were both beside each other at the video store. When did Ace Ventura come out?
94, I think.
Okay, so Grumpy Old Man was paving the way for our favorite guy who talks out of his butt. But somehow we miss this phenomenon, so we're coming back to it older, wiser, some would even say grumpier.
Well, listen, I saw this movie on TV when I was a kid.
Okay.
This movie was around.
Oh, it was? I've never saw a second of this movie. I probably saw the trailer playing endlessly on one of those pay-per-view movie trailer channels.
Well, okay, you probably saw the trailer for Grumpier Old Man.
Yeah, okay.
Because I saw that trailer a lot on the pay-per-view network, because I remember in that trailer, I've also seen Grumpier Old Men, but not lately. And
Before we started talking, will multiple Walter Mathau, Jack Lemmon movies, like, I've seen the trailer for this. I have the story of where I saw the trailer.
Okay, no, these goddamn trailers were everywhere in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I remember on the Viewer's Choice pay-per-view network, which, if you were the biggest fucking geek, if you were the most loser,
so me and you,
7-year-old, you'd be watching these trailers over
on loop.
and over.
There's like 4, and they just play over and over and over again.
And for a period, one of them was Grumpier Old Men. And I remember the narrator goes, "They're not getting older, they're getting stupider."
Now, wait, not Grumpier? Which is the name of the movie?
That's what he said. He said stupider.
Now, what's funny about you watching this on pay-per-view is that, like, I wanted to watch a trailer for my favorite guy, Dennis Miller's Bordello of Blood.
Oh, I saw that trailer over and over and over
now,
again.
I only wanted to see that trailer because it was Tales from the Crypt, and I couldn't see it. There was no way in the world I was going to see Bordello of Blood.
Okay, so you saw the Bordello of Blood trailer. You probably also saw the trailer for Fled with Stephen Baldwin.
Loved Fled so much that as a kid, my mom still has it. I drew like a storybook about Fled. Have I seen Fled? No. I have not seen. All right, Will. Pay-per-view episode. We're watching Bordello of Blood. We're watching Fled.
I think, check the archives. I think we have watched Fled together.
Have we? Why would we have watched Fled?
I think because we had this exact same conversation like 7 years ago.
Well, Bordello of Blood. Dennis Miller, so Joe Dirt, Bordello.
yeah, Dennis Miller episode. But yeah, I saw the Grumpier Old Men trailer a lot. And I also want to say, before we talk about Grumpy Old Men, I'm having so much fun reliving the glory days of Lemmon and Mathau. When these movies were coming out, and like I was 7 years old, these guys seemed like the two oldest guys in the world.
The oldest.
And the marketing of these movies was like, you'll never believe how old a guy can be.
Before you get into this, though, they do look old. Especially Walter Mathau, but he's always looked old.
Yeah. So Walter Mathau died in the year 2000 at age 79. Lemmon died in 2001, almost a year later to the day, at age 76.
So grumpy old men.
Like Al Pacino is 85 now.
They're in their 60s. And the movie's premise is like, we're dying any day now. Everyone we know is dying, like left and right. Even though that Jack Lemmon, dad, played by Burgess Meredith in this, is still alive.
That's right. Burgess Meredith's character is 94 years old. I think Burgess himself was 87 at the time. So the plot begins. It's set in Minneapolis. It's during the winter.
Christmas movie.
These two guys love to go ice fishing. They've known each other for decades. They've disliked each other for decades. They're neighbors. They're constantly insulting each other. They're calling each other dickhead this, dickhead that. They also each have a grown kid. Mathau's son is played by Kevin Pollak.
Podcaster extraordinaire.
Lemmon's daughter is played by Daryl Hannah. And you might think, well, why are they in this movie? And, it's probably because they wanted to work with Lemmon and Mathau.
Oh, I mean, are you saying the filmmaker's like, we need something that gets the kids into this theater? Give me Daryl Hannah.
I just think, like, this movie is so, like, if you looked at the script of this movie, this is so like plainly an unpromising film. And in fact,
wait, how dare you insult screenwriter Mark Steven Johnson?
I have an article here written in 2016 by one Bruce Fretz, and this was like syndicated in those magazines about like old movie stars. And Charlie Mathau, Walter's son, said, "My dad said the script was the biggest piece of crap he'd ever read and there was no way he would ever do it, but I talked him into it. He missed what he and Jack would bring to it, not only in terms of making it funny, but the warmth of it."
So the screenwriter of this, Mark Steven Johnson, if you are exactly my age and you are on Ain't It Cool News, you will know who that is because pre-Marvel Cinematic Universe, he became the comic book guy that he wrote and directed Daredevil, the Ben Affleck film. And then he also made Ghost Rider. And he was all over this early internet forums being like, no, it's good. I love the comics. I want to adapt the Garth Ennis comic book Preacher into an HBO miniseries. He was the guy that was there until his movies didn't do very well. And he directed When in Rome, the Kristen Bell movie.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, he's probably in TV land. I haven't looked at his credits recently. And I specifically remember him because on the commentary for Daredevil, of course I'm listening to this, I'm a teenager, he starts insulting the assistant editor at the end of the movie where he's like, this is why you fucking don't hire like amateurs. He actually says that in the commentary track on the DVD.
Well, I mean, the real marquee draw here is director Donald Petrie, who, as we mentioned last week, has one of the most cursed filmographies of all time. Richie Rich, My Favorite Martian, My Life in Ruins, Welcome to Mooseport, the Gene Hackman swan song. So
I think Donald Petrie, it's fine.
Death penalty.
You know what? I'm going to say I understand why this movie was a hit. People like to see old people on screen.
Oh, yeah. Let's
talk about the actual movie.
So, let's get back to the plot. So, again, Lemmon and Mathau, they're neighbors. They've known each other for decades. This neighborhood has been calm for decades, but a sexy single lady who's probably about 50 moves in nearby.
Yeah.
She's played
Too
by,
young for them.
She's played by Anne Margaret.
Yep.
And she is very forward. You know, she's going to her sauna in her little one-piece bathing suit. She's knocking on their doors and saying, "Oh, why won't somebody come over and fuck me?" She doesn't say that exactly.
She's basically saying that.
She's implying that.
She gets a taste of the Lemmon and the Mathau.
Yeah, she gets the whole town in a tizzy. First, Ozzie Davis, who plays their
She does all of them.
Yeah.
Only leaving Ozzie because he kicks the bucket.
You said you can see why this movie was a hit. I can see why it was a hit too. It's this came out during the Christmas season.
Yep.
It's
You're with
inoffensive.
your parents. Yep.
It's calm. It's gentle. You have two movie stars who are you've grown to love over the years and who have easy chemistry together.
Out of all the movies that I watched, and I know there's one that Will didn't watch, so he'll be shocked to hear, this was probably the wackiest of them.
Well,
it's very wacky.
So as Grumpy Old Men began, like it was kind of like dipping into a warm bath because this is what a 90s studio comedy looked and sounded like.
Yep.
You've got a musical score by Alan Silvestri.
Okay.
The hack of all hacks.
Alan Silvestri's written good scores. But you say Alan Silvestri to me, all I think about is Super Mario Brothers. Because Alan Silvestri wrote the score to Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So iconic score. But man, the 90s, they're like, "Hey, Alan, can you write something?" Yeah, go in my drawer and just pick something out.
Like that is the sound of a 90s studio comedy. You know, this has the sheen of a 90s studio comedy.
They're all like rich and they live in like small neighborhoods.
And I will say that this movie has a certain, to give Donald Petrie his due, this movie has a certain sense of atmosphere to it. The snowy Midwestern Christmas time vibes I appreciated. The plot is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
they pull pranks on themselves. That's fun. It's fine.
It's, the love triangle is unconvincing, I think.
Yeah, I don't believe Anne Margaret would be with either of these two guys.
Yeah, but
I mean,
did you
Walter
laugh?
Mathau?
Did you laugh ever watching this movie at any point, a single time?
That's a good question. No.
But did you feel kind of good watching it?
I felt it was like you said, a warm blanket.
Yeah.
Like if I was home and my mom or dad were like, "Oh, is there something to watch?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, Grumpy Old Men, I guess." I remember Grumpy Old Men.
Okay, so we've dealt with Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more to say about this movie. If you have more to say about this movie,
I don't.
Fucking lay it on me.
We're coming back to this territory with another modern day film later on. Let's go to The Odd Couple. The one that, all right, I got to watch myself because I feel if I'm too negative about this, people will be like, "How dare you?"
So a little background. Y'all know The Odd Couple, right? You've all heard of The Odd Couple. It began life as a 1965 stage play on Broadway, written by Neil Simon, another hack, if you ask me.
Love his music. Oh, wait, sorry. Neil Diamond. That took you a moment to get it, Will.
Yeah.
Will made a face where he was like, "Whoop." That was like a skunk just blasted him.
Neil Simon, the author of Marzipan, basically, the author of
what is like the great Neil Simon play? I know. Wait, didn't he write Elaine May?
Oh, The Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah, he did do that.
Okay.
So he's got one.
I'm gonna give a little more credit to Elaine May.
Yeah, considering that there's not that much. Man, we're gonna get the Neil Simon heads riled up.
Yeah. Okay. Barefoot in the Park, Biloxi Blues, Lost in Yonkers, Sweet Charity.
The musical?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, listen, Neil Simon was a fine craftsman.
That your parents love to go check out his plays.
And if you're in a small town and the community theater is doing Neil Simon, you're in for a perfectly fine 5 out of 10 night. But The Odd Couple definitely one of the definitive Neil Simon works. Now, watching this immediately after Grumpy Old Men was an interesting study in contrast because Grumpy Old Men takes it for granted. You love these guys. They're back. It's Lemmon and Mathau. It comes out guns a-blazing with the two of them walking out of their houses insulting each other. This one, slow burn comedy.
Yeah, it takes a while for them to get together.
It builds. Okay.
Some would almost say it feels like a play.
Yeah, you could say that. So
Let me out of this apartment.
yeah, it's Roman Polanski's apartment trilogy.
I mean, isn't it so relatable? Walter Mathau living in an 8-room apartment in downtown New York by himself.
with this huge ballroom that is his living room, basically. So as the movie begins, Walter Matthau is playing poker with his poker buddies.
I love these guys. So old, sweaty. This scene played out, and all I could think about was that, like, this must smell so bad.
Oh, yeah. And his friend, Jack Lemmon, has just come in because his marriage has fallen apart.
Yeah.
He's feeling suicidal. He's come to stay in the supportive arms of his friend, Walter Mathau. But what if I told you that there is an important personality difference between the two of them? One of them is really clean. The other one is pretty messy.
I'm going to say Walter Mathau, I think that he loses his temper a little bit too much in this film.
So I think I'm going to ask the question for all these movies, did you laugh? And I'll answer this one first. There were a couple parts of this movie where I laughed.
I laughed at the beginning where Jack Lemmon is trying to commit suicide and he hurts his back.
I laughed, 2/3 of the way in when tension is mounting and Jack Lemmon is vacuuming the apartment. Mathau comes in and he starts walking on the furniture and wiping his shoes on the curtain. And then he leaves the room.
Yes.
That made me laugh.
I felt bad for Jack Lemmon, who's trying his best. He's a little, in Walter Mathau's face. But Walter Mathau getting angry at him that he, like, called and asked a question and he missed a baseball play. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually going to stick up for this movie now because, first of all, I think this movie isn't all that interesting.
No.
It's poorly directed. It's just a film stage play, basically.
But even as a stage play, like, structurally, it's kind of, maybe that's just me, that I am not a child of the theater, but oftentimes, like, the, like, baggy kind of, like, structure of a stage play just unchanged here, it seems.
Yeah, so it's 106 minutes long, and I could lob 15 minutes off this movie and sort of get the pace going.
There's a weird lack of escalation to what, like, you'll get a moment here or a moment there.
Okay, yeah, and that's the thing. This is why I said I was going to stick up for this movie before I started bagging on it some more. Like, I feel like 2/3 the way in, there is that moment of crescendoing. You do feel the dynamic between these two escalating. I think the two of them play those moments really funny.
Yeah. Like, there's a whole sequence where Lemmon is basically left alone with two women that Mathau set up themselves on a double date. Very awkward. Not really any punchlines in a conventional sense, but the uncomfortableness is the comedy of the scene.
But when one of them chases the other one onto the roof and the two of them
I love that scene. I love all the end.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and where Jack Lemmon's like, all right, I'm gonna let loose on you. You've treated me better than anyone ever has. You're my friend. Love all that stuff.
But I think there's a better movie to be made out of this, even out of this play, because, like, the way that it's shot, it's just so pedestrian.
Yeah, it's very static.
And I just feel like a good director, somebody with, like, a real strong understanding of the space, could be building tension through, I don't know, editing, through shot compositions, through things like that.
I've got some good news for you, Will. There's a TV series that you can watch where they go through it. There's also a long gap sequel. But before we get to
we're gonna get to that.
like, you look at this film, and just like Grumpy Old Men, I can understand the dynamic and the personality of these two actors and what's attractive and what people love about it. Now, I was surprised looking at Letterboxd. People love this movie. Like,
okay, it's a self-selecting audience who's watching it on Letterboxd. Those are people who grew up with it, I think.
Yeah, so it is a personality-driven film. That it's like the two guys, that's why you're there. It's not particularly gag-filled. It's so odd to consider that, like, there are gags, but because there's so few, they pop out. Like the Three Stooges bit where all his friends leave the apartment and they're like, oh, if anything happens, you can call me, and they keep sticking their heads in.
Well, I do think, sometimes our method on this podcast is less than ideal for the material, because I watched 5 Lemmon and Mathau movies this week, and I'm overdosed on their dynamic together.
Well, you're just galaxy-brained.
If I was watching this movie in isolation, between a lot of other movies, I think the chemistry, the unique chemistry, or is it anti-chemistry between Oscar and Felix would pop a little more.
Well, the thing about Mathau as a performer is that he's gruff, but there's heart there. That's what's fun to watch about him. And Jack Lemmon is kind of the blue-collar, nervy every guy, and that's what's fun to watch about him. So, again, they're the perfect match, and it's on full display in this film because that's just kind of who they are.
I mean, yeah, it's the quintessential version of this particular chemistry. And, compared to Grumpy Old Man, I do like that it tries to earn its laughs a little bit more. Like, it tries to build the relationship from the ground up and sustain it and develop it throughout the course of the movie, which I don't think some of these later ones do. The later ones are more like Abbott and Costello
Well,
movies.
they just assume you know who they are, right? So they don't have to do any building up. Like, I was surprised at the first act. Like, it's really like Walter Matthau cares about Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
And like that's why you have that grounding element as opposed to what pop culture had led me to believe. It's just two wacky guys that are opposites that live in the same. That's not what the movie is.
Yeah.
So if anything, the kind of conflict between them is a deeper one. So when Mathau cracks, it's really funny because he puts on like a almost like crying voice. And he's like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. So Mathau's performance is pretty great in this movie.
Yeah.
Watching it slowly build like that. Because, Mathau as an actor is sort of a minimalist, and so like when he does change his register a little bit, it pops.
Oh yeah, and like you understand that he loves Jack Lemmon, and while I said I didn't feel there was enough buildup, you understand who he is and why he would break. He even like in Act 1 says like, "Look, my wife left me because I do all of these things, so I understand it." And then, we're going to the destination we all know is going to end up.
So yeah, I think I actually do like, now that we've talked it through, I like Neil Simon's script, basically. I don't think it's great or anything, but it's like...
be very curious. This feels like a play that probably comes to Broadway like every 5 years with like new famous people in it.
Yeah.
I would be very curious to see what it would look like staged now.
Yeah.
Like, is it more slapsticky? Is there like an extra element that's added to it?
Well, like I think... it's a very simple premise.
Yeah.
The bones of it are very simple, and I feel like the actors can fill in a lot, and the director can also fill in a lot.
Or just put the camera down and film it.
Well, yeah, like the director can choose like what to emphasize.
Yes.
And I think this movie lets the material and the actors down, frankly. Although it was a huge hit and people
Yeah,
love
so what
it.
do we know what we're talking
yeah.
about? All right, let's jump forward. We're talking about The Odd Couple. I watched a movie Will didn't watch, The Odd Couple 2.
Oh, man. So I have seen this movie, though. I saw it in a theater.
Okay. How is this happening? Let's jump back.
I was 9 years old.
Are you requesting The Odd Couple 2? Because this is classic Will wants to feel like an adult movie selection.
I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but I have always been a sucker for long gap sequels.
Okay.
I love...
Even as a 9-year-old?
Yes, even as a 9-year-old.
Have you seen The Odd Couple at this point?
I don't know if I had or not.
Okay.
I certainly, Lemmon and Mathau were a huge brand in the 90s. So like I knew what their deal...
Yeah, you walk into the video store, you're there.
I knew what their deal was.
Beside Ace Ventura's Gaping Asshole, which was the original VHS cover, there was Walter Matthau. I think they're like... Are they shaking hands on the VHS box cover? Like it's a very like.
Well, on the Odd
What About Bob?
On the
style.
on the Odd Couple 2, it's like one of them's leaning in and the other one's leaning back.
Oh, and
but here's the main thing.
We need to specify though. It's Odd Couple Roman numeral 2.
Well, actually, if you want to quote the full title, it's Neil Simon's The Odd Couple 2.
Oh, and I believe the original title was like Traveling Light or something like that.
By the way, like the fact that like Neil Simon wrote this movie.
Yeah.
It's his last thing that he ever wrote.
Is it the last thing? I believe it is.
Yeah. And it's like anybody could have written this. I can't believe Neil Simon
Well,
wrote
they
this.
got the right man for the job, Howard Deutsch, the director of
Grumpier Old Men.
Pretty in Pink, I believe was one of his too.
Yeah, just a hack.
Just a hack.
So my background with The Odd Couple 2 is I was, of course, very excited when this came out because it's a long gap sequel. I also remember being at a baseball game at the Sky Dome here in Toronto, and the trailer for this movie was playing on the big Jumbotron like 500 times, like just between pitches.
Would Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon's Beckett like booming voices?
Yes.
Play out? Wow.
Yes. There's a bit in the trailer. Look up the trailer right now where it's like they meet at the airport or they see each other. It's like Oscar, Felix, and the sound of them doing that over and over and over and over again is seared into my brain, as if with a cattle prod.
So I sat down and watched The Odd Couple 2. I wanted to suffer, and I thought it was pleasant. It was fine.
Right.
Like,
so the plot of this movie is that, and I'm doing this from memory and from having watched the trailer again,
which is 2/3 of the movie. Me and Will watched it together right before we started recording.
That's right. So Oscar and Felix's kids are getting married. Would you believe it?
Whoa!
Now Oscar
pushing the camera on Walter Matthau's face. I need to say, so the music comes in like it's like Superman's theme in this movie. Like when they meet each other, it's like bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, as if they wrote the script like, and the audience jumped to their feet.
Favorite guys, and the trailer hypes it up so much. Where Walter Mathau is answering the phone, and he's like, "You're getting married to who?" da, 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 da.
Yeah, because you don't know what the movie is. You just see Walter Mathau.
The Odd Couple heads.
They're back.
Yeah, they're back, which is also funny because like Lemmon and Mathau have made like 5 movies in the 90s. Like you've seen so much of their shtick.
The Odd Couple 2 is like this is we're at the end of the road. Like if we're here.
Well, my memory of The Odd Couple 2 is that it's basically just Grumpy Old Men 3. Yeah. Like it has almost nothing to do with the original Odd Couple.
They do touch upon it like gently, the fact that Walter Mathau is a sports writer. He starts out a sports game.
Is he still messy?
Doesn't really come into the movie that because they're in a car most of the time.
What I remember is that Jack Lemmon does the lovable bit. The thing we all remember, his weird breathing thing.
He does do that. It's in the trailer, so you know that the filmmakers are throwing back. It's like Austin Powers too. It's like this old gag again. We're going back to it.
Yeah,
it's a road trip movie, so it's fine. They dislike each other, but not too much. And at the end, spoiler alert, maybe Jack Lemmon's moving back in with Walter Mathau.
So we're jumping back through time again because if these movies were not meant to be watched in chronological order.
No,
they were meant to be.
It's like Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah, exactly.
You're unstuck in time.
Yeah.
Let's go to probably called at the time the worst film of the year.
Well, why don't we do, because I know that between us, we watched the 2 Billy Wilder movies of the 70s.
Oh, I watched the front page, yes.
So let's start with the front page.
Okay.
Which is, the umpteenth iteration of, the...
Why are we back at this again?
The His Girl Friday story.
Yeah.
Now, I saw this movie when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Daddy, I want to watch Walter Mathau and Jack Lemmon in the front page.
I think when I was a kid, I just liked the comedy section of the video store.
Yeah.
And also, I could only watch movies that were rated PG, so that kind of limited me.
Me too. And I was not pleased when I skipped that rule by picking up The Toxic Avenger. My dad went, unrated? Yeah, that's fine. He did not understand ratings.
So the front page, my memory of it is that it's not funny and that it's kind of lame. And this impression was canonized by Dolomite Is My Name, which has a clip from it.
Yeah, where Eddie Murphy is watching in a theater and it's like, what? They like this? Like, it's bad. It's not very funny. It's very leaden in its pace. Again, like every movie I've talked about this episode, it's fine though. Like, it's not disastrous. It looks great, shot by the cinematographer of Blade Runner. So it's got a big look that I will say that the other Billy Wilder movie, Buddy Buddy, that I watched felt much cheaper than the front page.
So, man, am I glad we're going to talk about Buddy Buddy now. This is the last of the Billy Wilder films. This was his swan song. It was a huge critical and commercial flop at the time. Like all great movies, it's a remake of a Francis Weber picture. One of
our favorite French comedian,
the French hack who made the hack movies.
La Casual Fun
hack remakes. No, he made
he did do La Casual Fun.
Oh, he did. Oh my God. Well, he also did like Three Fugitives and Pure Luck and all that shit.
The original title is Le Merdeur, which is a slang word in French that basically means the shitter.
It's a not particularly interesting farce comedy that has Jack Lemmon plays a suicidal man who goes to a hotel to commit suicide. Walter Mathau is a hitman who is in the room next to him.
And he can't let him commit suicide because it would draw attention to the job that he has to do that day.
So Jack Lemmon is upset and driven to suicide because his wife, played by Paula Prentice, has run off with a...
totally normal man, played by Klaus Kinski.
Run off with a sex therapist, a Wilhelm Reich type figure played by Klaus Kinski, and it is surreal. Surreal, I tell you, to see Lemmon and Mathau acting alongside Klaus Kinski, who doesn't have much to do here.
No, he doesn't have much to do. Listen, I'm going to say it again. I thought this was fine.
I kind of liked this movie, and I'm chalking this up to low expectations.
You know what? Structurally, it's a fun premise that a hitman has to keep a guy from committing suicide to draw attention to himself. It also structurally builds to, like, all the characters at the end all meet together.
No, that's the thing. I think I like this movie more than The Fortune Cookie.
Oh, really?
I'm fucking laying down the gauntlet here, and this is not a popular opinion.
And we have to say that, like, Roger Ebert, when this movie came out, said it was the worst film of the year. To which I say, like you always are, Roger Ebert, you're wrong.
Well,
there's No way.
So I like it better than the fortune cookie because I think it just works better as a farce.
Yes.
I mean, it's moves fast. There's a lot going on, and all those threads come together in a satisfying way.
Yeah, because they're probably just copying what the French comedy did.
It's not that funny.
No.
But what I will also say is the Lemmon and Mathau chemistry continues to work here the way it does in all the movies.
I really liked Walter Matthau out of all the movies that we watched is at his most like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing it, which is funny.
Well, actually, what's funny about their relationship in this movie is like it's sort of the same from movie to movie, but there are subtle variations. So in this movie, they're kind of like Martin and Lewis.
Yeah.
And Jack Lemmon is the Jerry Lewis. He's at his most like manic in this
And Walter
film.
Matthau wants nothing to do with Jack Lemmon. There is no friendliness at any point in this film, which I found funny. That is an interesting way to play their dynamic.
That's right. So like, I don't know. I think it works.
Especially the idea of Walter Matthau at one point takes him to the desert and pulls out a gun to shoot him.
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, listen, I wouldn't tell you to rush out to watch this movie
Absolutely
or anything,
not.
but
so I guess we're Billy Wilder O'Tourist at this point.
yeah.
The early Billy Wilder. It's not fully
I
formed.
was watching this movie and thinking, what is there to hate here?
Yes.
This is just such a normal.
Why do you think people hated it so much when it came out? Like, it is like a punchline as like the bad late career movie. I mean, Quentin Tarantino was probably thinking of it because he ripped it off for Reservoir Dogs.
Well, when Quentin Tarantino says, I only want to make 10 movies,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
thinking
want to
of
make
this.
I don't want to make that embarrassing last movie. He's thinking of this.
But like that scene, I believe he took it from this where he's like talking about Mr. Brown and Mr. White, Mr. Pink.
Yeah,
when he's on the phone. Tarantino maybe inspired. He's a big Buddy fan.
Yeah.
Has he been on the Video Archives talk? This is like the kind of movie he'd probably talk up at one point, right?
Well, he probably doesn't like this movie because
No.
it's an old auteur film.
Yes. Does it feel old? Yes. Is it under 2 hours? Yes. That's a bonus over the fortune cookie.
I think it moves pretty fast
Yeah.
and everyone's likable in it. I don't know. I'm feeling bullish about Buddy.
I kind of liked how it ended. It ended very cynically too, in a way I didn't expect. So Buddy, just like the Mae West film, we're coming to its defense. The Mae West film is better though.
That's Sextet. Yes.
Sextet, much better than Buddy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the one that brought us here, Out to Sea.
Yeah, so this is the one that I really wanted to talk about, the one I really wanted to watch because I thought that this might be the secret good, the secret, like the underrated Lemmon and Mathau film.
Here's the thing, I watched it first. We were on Martha Coolidge. I went to this one, and I gotta say, perfectly pleasant.
So I watched it second.
Yeah.
I started with Grumpy Old Men, then Out to Sea.
You started with the text.
And I kind of wish I started with Out to Sea because it would have had a little more novelty had I seen it first.
The thing about Out to Sea is that it doesn't have the forced goofiness of, there's a little bit of it when Walter Matthau's like changing costumes.
It's got some forced goofiness.
But
I
not
don't know.
as bad as Grumpy Old Men, I would say. That there's a gentler touch. And I appreciated the love story in this one more than any of the late period ones that we watched.
So this is their penultimate film together. It's from 1997. You know it because the poster has the two of them doing the tango together.
And I like how low rent it is too. That like Brent Spiner is the villain of the film.
Right. Okay. So the plot of the movie is that Walter Mathau, it's basically the Odd Couple dynamic. Walter Mathau is a compulsive gambler, a bit of a horn dog.
Walter Matthau, we're both those things in real life. Did you know?
Horn dog?
And a compulsive gambler.
I
You look
didn't
at
know
his Wikipedia page that he lost like $300,000 while filming a movie.
Wow. They're channeling their demons into their art.
Yep, and he regularly lost $500 according to his loved ones every day.
But Jack Lemmon is heartsick. He's a recent widower, and Mathau says, come on with me. We're going to go on a cruise together. And when they get on the cruise, they find out Walter Mathau lied and said he was the two of them were accomplished dancers. They got a free cruise under the pretense that they would be like professional hired dancers who would like dance with the elderly matrons, in the ballroom. And they don't know how to dance.
Well, Jack Lemmon does.
Jack Lemmon
That's
knows
why
how to
Walter
dance.
Matthau brought him along, because he knows he can
But he
dance.
doesn't want to dance.
No.
Mathau mostly just wants to gamble. The main selling point of this movie is that it has a galaxy of aged stars in it. There's Diane Cannon, Gloria DeHaven, who I think is very charming as Jack Lemmon's love interest. It has Elaine Stritch as Diane Cannon's mother, who's also quite wacky. Best of all, it has Donald O'Connor, who has very little screen time. He plays one of the other like professional dancers, but whenever he's on screen, I'm grinning. And there's one moment where they're all rehearsing their dance to do the hustle. And Donald O'Connor says, "Oh, let me show you how it's really done." And he starts tap dancing, and it's just like, I swear, 20 seconds. And it's delightful. just Donald O'Connor busting loose.
What I enjoyed about this movie is it's very, simple structure where like Walter Matthau is trying to woo who he thinks is a rich Harris.
Yeah.
And while Jack Lemmon is also starting a relationship with somebody else on the boat.
Moves like molasses.
Yeah, but they get together an hour in, both couples. And the Jack Lemmon storyline, I found it sweet that it's about him getting over, not getting over, but, moving on from, I have to live my life now that my wife has passed away.
So what I'll say is I think the script is like lame, obviously.
I'm shocked. How dare you?
But I think Martha Coolidge directs it in a way that's very affectionate towards the actors, you know?
The script doesn't have that Mark Steven Johnson touch.
The script is like any of these fucking movies.
Yeah, they just ran it through like, let's just get him on the boat.
Brent Spiner, who I like in this movie, who is basically Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah, he's like... And meets like Robert Goulet.
Yeah, it's like just... he really leans into and devours the role of like a lame light comedy villain, But for the most part, I think it's a gentle, relaxing movie that tries to like show these stars to best advantage. Would I tell you to run out and watch it?
No, absolutely not. No way.
But if it's on TV and you're not allowed to leave the house, then, it's like...
and it's the only channel that you have. Yeah, that's all you can watch.
There are worse ways,
Yep. I mean, would I watch it willingly in any other situation? No. Will I watch it again? No, probably not. But I had a fun time as it was playing in front of me.
Okay, so let's rank these movies.
Oh, we're ranking them? Okay. Boy.
Number 1. What's it going to be?
Out of the ones I watched?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it can't be Buddy Buddy, can it?
We have to make The Odd Couple number 1. I mean,
that is like...
It's legendary.
I guess The Odd Couple.
Number 2, Buddy Buddy.
Number 2, Buddy Buddy. Number 3...
Out to Sea.
Out to Sea.
Number 4, Grumpy Old Man.
Yep.
And by the way, the difference between number 1 and number 4, not that big.
No, not that big at all.
Number 5... I'm sorry, guys. The Fortune Cookie for me.
You know what? I didn't see the Fortune Cookie.
Actually, no. Fortune Cookie's better than Grumpy Old Man. What am I fucking saying?
The Fortune Cookie, Grumpy Old Man.
Wait. Okay. No. Sorry. Do I like Fortune Cookie better than Out to Sea? That's the real question.
I will tell you 2+ hours, not 2+ hours.
Okay, yeah. So I'm right. You know what? Fortune Cookie is below Out to Sea because Out to Sea.
But you like seeing old people on screen.
I like old people on screen.
That's what Out to Sea has.
I mean, the Fortune Cookie is much more ambitious.
Yes.
It's beautifully shot. It's sharper. I think it has a better Mathau performance. But at the end of the day, which one do I want to watch a second time?
You'd be Out to Sea, yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's just say...
front page.
Yeah. Odd Couple 2.
Odd Couple 2, and then the front page.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Sorry. And that is the definitive ranking of the Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon films that we watched. Kind of surprising. Like, I thought like I was going to watch The Odd Couple, and I was going to be like, I get it now.
You really thought you were going to...
No. I'm trying to create a story here. Walter Mathau, are you ever going to try to finish up the, chip off? You got to watch The Odd Couple 2 again.
Well, I would love to check out The Grass Harp at some point. And I think maybe...
Not a real one, though.
We should return to this for our Patreon episode. We should do a Patreon episode of Lemmon and Mathau Deep Cuts where we do that and JFK.
They don't share a scene together, JFK.
But they're both in it.
I know, but that also made me think...
Don't you just want to watch it, though?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be a not fun drama, I feel. But that reminded me an episode where we talk about films directed by the children or grandchildren of the stars.
Oh.
So, and I got one that's weird, even though it's not one of the stars, but like The Time Machine starring Guy Pearce, directed by like H.G. Wells' like great-grandson, I believe.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Now, of course, we're going to have to return to the Three Stooges.
Oh, with Norman Mowers.
Yeah, technically not a child, but
a stepson or a son-in-law. Yeah.
There's something there, I feel. There's something there.
I think so. I want to keep workshopping this.
Is there a good one, though? That needs to be like the guiding principle.
Well, there probably is a good one. There are lots of good Nepo babies out there, right?
Yes.
And one of them must have used their dad in something interesting.
Or mom in something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. If people... What are the best Nepo babies working with their mom or dad movies?
I mean, Lena Dunham directed her mother in Tiny Furniture. Her mother was like an artist.
Yeah, I mean,
Does that count?
That would technically qualify.
I don't think so though. Like,
Don't make us dig Lena Dunham up again.
but no, the parent has to be like really famous in their own right.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think. Or they have to be like a star text.
Yeah, because I was looking as we were talking of like, I know that the son of, I think it's like Michael Owitz. He's like a no-wave director who ended up directing DTV Trash.
I know the one you're talking
His
about.
son made a movie that stars his mother that is also an actress.
Yeah.
So lots, maybe you get some mainstream, you get some indie stuff.
I think the criteria has to be like the parent is somebody who is like a star and has
Yes.
a star text, and the kid is somebody who is distinguished in their own right.
Oh, they have to be. I like the idea of.
Oh,
them not being
actually,
distinguished.
no.
Yeah,
I take that back. Yeah.
All right. Well, a topic we will return to. As per usual, you can send us letters to Important Cinema Club podcast at gmail.com.
And I just want to say the next episode is going to be a little more substantial than this.
We went for 50 minutes on this topic.
I bet we did, yeah.
Our first letter goes, a letter about film awards. It's from Riku, and he asks, Dear Justin and Will, my question is about the film awards. Which ones do you actually prefer? Based on your past episodes, your attitudes and expectations about the Oscars are a bit cynical, and who can blame you? They're supposed to be international film awards. They're not. And the rules for the Academy members are a joke. I mean, recently Variety wrote an article about the Oscars' new rules requiring voters to watch all nominees before they have to vote. And already members found loopholes for those new rules. Quote, another
New rule. Dun, 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 dun.
Wait, what is that from?
That's Bill Maher.
Oh, you
Every
know that better than
every
I-
time I hear new rules, that's what I think of.
Is that like a classic Bill Maher? I mean, I'm more of a Club Random kind of guy. Letter quote, another member admits they hit play before leaving the house to go to work. Votes, many acknowledge, are often driven by professional allegiances. You think I'm voting against my own campaign, last one executive? I'm voting for my stuff. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Like, this article comes out every year where they're like, duh, I vote for the Oscars. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, of course.
Of course.
The letter continues. So do you have a preferred film awards? Which one could be considered the most valid and or most objective, and also considers the cinema around the world? BAFTAs, Razzies, MTV Movie Awards, Canada's own Constellation Awards. I've never heard of that.
I don't know what that is.
Or perhaps the Juicy Gala in Finland. If you don't have a preferred one, maybe the annual Best Bunch of Movies should be calculated from Letterboxd's vast databanks. No. Or maybe Important Cinema Club should start making its own annual award show. No, we don't watch enough movies for that.
No.
I can see it now. The honorable ICC diploma -25 goes to Jackie Chan's Karate Kid Legends, or the Ultimate Golden Ninja Video Award 2025 goes to Seven Veils by Adam Agoyan.
I'd love to see Jackie and Adam on stage together.
Oh, so the way that we do it is we give 2 awards at once because we want like a clash of personalities as they come up.
That's right. Maybe they'll do a little kung fu. Adam McGoyan and Jackie Chan.
And then Tom Jones comes out and he's like, everybody is kung fu fighting.
Yeah, that's right. So what awards do I take seriously?
None.
I mean, none of them. What I'll say is I find the awards that come out of like the film festivals like Cannes and Venice, I find them interesting. And they're mostly interesting just because of the juries that vote on them. So it's like, okay, Tim Burton is president of the jury that gives the Palme d'Or to Uncle Boonmee who can recall his past lives. That's interesting. Clint Eastwood is president of the jury that gives it to Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. That's kind of interesting. It's just interesting to see like this particular body of personalities and, you know, what they award.
Is there any film awards thing that I put any value in? No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'll give one more, and I don't.
New York Critics Award.
Yeah, that's right.
Or what is the Toronto Critics?
The Toronto Film Critics Association, the greatest organization on earth. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I see a sign here that says no wills.
That's okay. We don't need them.
All right.
No, the other award-like thing that, listen, I don't put any real value in any of this except like the Sight and Sound poll every 10 years is interesting only just as like a measure.
Oh, I like that. I like the Sight and Sound poll.
Because I like the individual ballots.
Yeah.
Those are interesting. And it's just interesting to see like what the temperature of film culture is. Like when you see things rise and fall in the rankings, it's just interesting to see like where people are at, where the discourse is at.
Now, have I ever been entered into awards for films that I made and then left in a huff when I'm like, I didn't get one pity award? Yes, of course. But so it only has value when I don't get them.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, what are you going to do?
have we ever won an award for this podcast?
No, never. Yeah. If we have, people did not let us know. And I mean, we're all following the potties, I guess.
There's the Canadian Podcast Awards, which
Is there?
Yeah,
Does it
there
still
is.
exist?
I think so. And
Okay.
it's always going to these astroturfed fake podcasts.
Yeah.
Like they need awards because they don't have listeners.
Yeah.
But we,
Have thousands of listeners.
we have thousands of listeners, and hey, I'll just take those letters that we get every week from people
It's enough, yeah.
who love us. And
I mean, it is worthwhile to be like, oh, this won an award that I hold no value in, and I'll see it because of that reason. Just as a guiding principle.
well, I
guess.
mean, the Oscars are. I think if the Oscars have any value, it's like, okay, well, if this wins, then that might help that
Cement,
person's
yeah.
career.
And it's not awards, but like playing film festivals does make a difference. Like
Sure.
Midnight Madness, I know that if you're like a Japanese filmmaker and you're like indie-ish and you play Midnight Madness, that will like guarantee 2 to 3 movies when you go back to Japan in the indie scene. Like I know the filmmakers that's happened to, so like that does make a difference. Anyone else though, if it's not a big major festival, nah, you're screwed. Doesn't mean anything. So
Yeah.
awards, festivals, none of it has values. The only values is clicks, which is why Important Cinema Club is turning into a slideshow podcast where you have to click to the next episode to continue.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to write for any websites like that at one point?
No, but
Wow.
I'm still young.
Yeah, so the slideshow model where you have to click through like the top 10 every time, it'll come back eventually.
That's right.
So thank you very much for the letter, and I hope that you completely disassociate any awards and realize that none of them have any value. Our next letter is from Steven, and it's movie soundtrack auteur. Hey, Justin and Will, have you ever done an episode on a famous composer for film scores? I think it would be an amazing topic because sometimes the composers can be auteurs in their own right. Skipping over the obvious choices like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, and Angelo Badalamenti, rest in peace. A really cool composer to cover would be Wendy Carlos, who is known for her work on the soundtrack for The Shining and Tron. My personal favorite is her work on the Clockwork Orange soundtrack because at points in the film, her score, specifically her version of the funeral of Queen Mary in the opening scene, is what captivated me even more than Kubrick's visuals. Anyway, hope you are both doing well. Steven. Talking about a composer would only be difficult because I do not have even the most base language to speak about things musically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously music interacts with movies in a very important way.
Yeah.
But
It's very exciting here. It's making me move me here.
But yeah, it feels like a different art form in some way.
I mean, we've talked about cinematographers without having the vocabulary to probably articulate ourselves in a way that, is complimentary enough to the subject that we're talking about. So maybe we could do music. Like, I like when the music goes fast here.
Yeah.
Do you ever listen to film scores? Like in your... Because I don't really.
No, there have been times when I have. When I was a younger man, when I was a teenager, I had the Enter the Dragon soundtrack and would put that on.
So just...
Yeah. Dun, dun.
Wait, was the sound effect on?
Yeah,
that?
it was on it. Yeah.
Okay. But like I always hear people like, I write to this film score. And it's like, yeah, that's never... I've tried. It's not really my thing.
You ever gone to the gym and like played the Rocky theme?
No, never.
Have you ever gone to the gym?
I have. I listen to, I kid you not, when I do exercise, anime openings because they are all very high energy and I don't understand what they're saying, so it's not distracting. What music do you listen to when you write?
I don't.
At all,
No,
really?
no.
You're just in your thoughts? I always play like pop or like rock that's usually fast, and I know all the songs, so it just kind of like, it's just like a wall, a noise wall that rolls over me.
Yeah.
And then you're allowed to write boop, 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 boop. So you just sit in like full silence, full nude, typing out your masterpieces.
Jacking off.
Yeah, you only need one hand for that.
Are you listening to any music lately?
Yes,
you
because
into anything? Yeah.
we started listening to records, and I'm like, man, I have so many good records, and also records that I got from a subscription service that I would not own if not for that service, which is funny because I'm like, the score to Return of the Living Dead 2, the score to Guyver in a 2-disc set.
That's good stuff.
The score to Toxic Avenger, not Toxic Avenger, Toxic Crusaders, the cartoon.
I have a pretty big collection of like movie soundtracks on vinyl, but I realized I think I got most of them just because of the album covers.
Really? You don't listen to them very much? So
Now and then I do. You know what I listen to a lot actually are the scores for the Black Emmanuel movies.
is that Ritz Orlandi?
Yeah, that's right. Like like, Black Emmanuel Around the World. Emmanuel in America has a fucking great soundtrack.
All those Italian scores are great. I have a bunch of those too.
Yeah, and what's great about those is like those scores, I feel like they were composed like completely separate from the movie.
They were.
And often they have this odd like disjunctive relationship with the movie itself.
Yeah, I mean, my most prized vinyl possession is, I think, the 3-disc Bloody Moon soundtrack that a German company put out.
I mean, what a great soundtrack.
I mean, that is actually genuinely good music. I've been listening to a lot more music because I'm playing with Archie in the living room. And the record player's right there, so pop it open, put a soundtrack on. It's like, all right, we're listening to the score by Keith Emerson's for Sylvester Stallone's Nighthawks tonight, because that I picked up for like $5 in a bin somewhere.
That's a movie I got to watch again soon.
I was in a record store this weekend, and I was shocked at how many teenagers were there. Like, it was packed with like kids going through records. So there's still value to physical media, people. I'm doing my Walter Mathau attempt of a voice now. People like it.
Yeah.
Will's a little bit better than me. All right.
Fix.
What are we doing next week, Will?
We want to deal with a big subject, a weighty subject, something we can sink our teeth into, something perhaps, as I said, a little more substantial than Lemmon and Mathau. God love them.
How dare you dismiss their entire lives like this?
Well, hey, I mean, we weren't talking about Glengarry Glen Ross.
Or like The Apartment or Charlie Varick.
The good ones, we're just talking about the shit they made together. The paycheck
the
years.
Paycheck movies, if you will. So who are we talking about? This is a big one.
We're talking about Jacques Rivette.
Jacques Rivette, and by big one, I mean not only one that looms.
Well, he's not as famous as Godard and Truffaut.
But like J-Ro talking about him, that is like an entry point into that kind of cinema. Like reading his criticism, that's what I gravitated towards instantly.
So he's the dark horse favorite of the French New Wave.
And I'm going to say something right now. We're not watching Out One.
Okay.
We're not doing it.
Okay.
Number one.
We don't have to.
Not a movie.
Okay.
It's a TV series.
Okay.
Number two, you can watch La Belle Noiseuse. That's like 6 hours.
Okay, so I just watched La Belle Noiseuse, which is what spurred me to want to talk about him, because I thought I enjoyed La Belle Noiseuse.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to do ones that you haven't seen? Because I know you've seen Celine and Julie
Well,
Go
we
Boating.
should watch Celine and Julie Go Boating, just because it's the most famous one. And yeah, we don't have to watch Out One because they're all long.
Yeah.
All
I
these
mean, you
movies.
can watch, there's a version of it like Out One. I think it's Eclipse, like the movie edit that he did. I think that would be of interest.
But what, so...
I would say,
how about Paris Belongs to Us?
We should do Paris Belongs to Us because he did it within that French New Wave, but it took so long to film that it actually didn't technically come out when all those films were coming out.
Man, now I'm looking at L'Amour Fou, but that one's also like 6 hours.
Yeah, they're all very, very long. Okay, so I know most of these movies. Now, have I watched them? No.
So I'll tell you the ones I've seen. I've seen Celine and Julie, which I'm going to watch again. I just saw La Belle Noiseuse. I've seen The Nun, but not in a long time.
Yeah.
I've seen Duel recently.
Wow, I've watched Duel recently. I have no memory of this yet.
I've seen Le Pont du Nord fairly recently.
Au Bas Fragile is kind of like musical style film.
Okay, that
so
could be
you've seen
interesting.
most of these already then.
Now, I haven't seen his late period film, The Duchess of Langeais.
Is that like his last film?
It might be.
Like a...
That's 2007.
Yeah, that sounds like... Oh, no, his last one is Around a Small Mountain. 84 minutes. Oh, Va Savoir is one that people talk about a lot, too.
Va Savoir.
There's 2 entries on that. Does that mean there's 2 different versions? 154 minutes, 224 minutes. Yes, there is 2 versions of it. Oh, yeah, there's also his Joan of Arc movie. Oh, they're 2 parts too. No.
Okay, so on Letterboxd, the most popular version of Va Savoir is the 154-minute version.
Okay, so is that the one that we accept?
Well, okay, so let's settle on this.
Okay, let's pick 3.
Celine and Julie.
Yep. Paris Belongs to Us.
Paris Belongs to Us.
And why don't we do The Duchess? Oh, no, let's do Va Savoir.
Okay, Va Savoir.
Va Savoir. What does it say here? Extended, that premiered in Paris. Okay.
154-minute version.
Oh, yes, because it says the 220-minute cut features much more performances of the play. Get it out of here.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's Jacques Rivette's bread and butter.
Although, Christ almighty, now I'm looking at the mutual follows on Letterboxd, and they're all saying, like, ooh, just saw the longer version. Revelatory, which...
I mean, Gang of 4. Hey, if we're taking extra time, why don't we just watch his entire filmography?
Oh, man.
Oh, I like this one. Love on the Ground. A playwright, offers 2 actors' friends the chances to appear in his new unfinished play, which consists of only female part. All right. So those are the 3 that we're going to do. Guaranteed that we're going to do.
Selena Julie, Paris Belongs to Us, Va Savoir.
Yeah. I have that Blu-ray of La Belle Noiseuse, Collecting Dust. And you obviously watched a 238-minute version, right?
I watched whatever's on the Criterion Channel, which I believe it was
Probably
4
the longest
hours.
version. Yeah, it's probably the longest.
And I liked it. And what I'll say is I thought it zipped by. Well, actually, okay, let me rephrase. It didn't zip by.
Yeah.
You feel it, but like I was not bored.
I mean, I can't watch the Blu-ray of The Nun that I have because of the controversial transfer that it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we can't get into this. We can't get into
The DVD beaver over here.
All right, so that's who we're doing next week, Jacques Rivette. If people don't know about him and want to know more, I would just say search Jacques Rivette, Jonathan Rosenbaum. I think those would be the main articles that I would point to.
Okay.
So until next week, my name's Justin Decloux.
I'm Will Sloan.
Thanks for listening. Oh, what are we doing on our Patreon this week, Will?
We're doing American cinema.
Yeah, what is American cinema? Inspired by the proposed 100% tariffs on non-American film.
We're going to be saying, like, what are the movies, like, knee-jerk, what do we think of when we think of American movies?
We're going to pick 5. That would be the definitive American movie. And I know you're going to be like, but what about we don't care?
Don't care.
Weird. The definitive statement on what? You can chat about it in the Discord. But
and we're not doing research.
There's been no preparation.
It has to be from the heart.
From the heart, yeah. What is an American film? So that's what we're doing on our Patreon this week. Patreon.com/The Important Cinema Club.
Well, it's the summer movie season. That's right. It's Blockbuster Central. Now, summer movie season lasts all year long now, basically.
Yeah.
There are Marvel movies that come out in February. It doesn't matter. But nevertheless, let's twist again like we did a few summers ago. Let's pretend there's still a blockbuster season in the summer.
That's right. And we're going to go through all the big ones, and we're going to definitively guess how much money they're going to make. Now, I believe last time you picked a number, and I said, like, under over was my guess? Or
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Do you want to do that again? Do you want me to just take...
Yeah.
But I'm really bad at numbers
And
like
we're
this.
only doing domestic box office.
No, not international, just domestic.
Canada and the U.S.
All right, so let's work our way up, though. So let's start with some real trash we don't care about, and you have to take a guess on.
Okay.
Remember Tron, the classic Jeff Bridges film? Remember Tron Legacy? We all love the film with the Daft Punk score. Well, baby, Tron is back.
There's a new Tron?
Tron Ares, starring, and everybody was waiting for it, Jared Leto.
Okay, wait. How real a movie is this?
100% real. It's coming out.
It's coming to
IMAX, theaters. It's a Disney film. You didn't.
What, I'm hearing about this for the first time.
Yes. I know you're a big Tron head, so I'm surprised that. And do you know why it's coming out?
Oh, wait. It's coming out in October.
Oh, is it? Okay, so that's not summer season. I searched summer movies, and it was one of the ones that was at the top.
Okay, no. I'm going to boxofficemojo.com.
Okay, that makes sense. I just searched summer movies and was naming off the ones that were on the top list.
Why don't we start here on May 23rd, because we have 2 huge blockbusters. And we're going to go through this blockbuster by blockbuster. So Lilo and Stitch. That's the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake. And by live-action, I mean the little creature is still animated.
Yes, and he looks like he did, but not as fun.
Now,
it's not as colorful.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the live-action Disney remakes are on a downward slide financially.
Yes.
So what do we think? What do we think about this one? I'm going to say, so Snow White made what, 90 million?
Is that all it made?
Yeah, I think it might do a little better than that.
I'm going to say $300 million.
Domestic.
Domestic, that's tough. 150 million domestic. I think there's no kids movies coming out around this time. This is something that people say a lot, which is like, you're bringing your kid, they want to see a movie. What do you see? Do you see the re-release, I'm not joking, of Ma, the Blumhouse film, which is being re-released on May 14th?
You know what? I'm actually, you say 150, I'm going to go big.
Oh, you're going to go big.
I'm going to say 250.
250.
Because I will say, so Snow White, that's an old property. That's for old people.
That's true.
Lilo and Stitch, the Zoomers know.
Does that have the Lion King juice, though? Because Lion King made like $1 billion.
Billion worldwide.
Because they remembered it and they were...
I think 250... Assuming there's no competition. So, okay, you say 150, I say 250.
Here's the thing.
And I don't want to overthink
When we say numbers like this means nothing to me. 150, $200 million?
So,
like,
Mission...
Who the fuck cares?
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning.
Okay, so this did not do so well.
The previous one didn't.
I think people are hungry for Tom Cruise again.
And also, the previous one opened like 2 days before Barbieheimer.
Yeah, that's right.
So it got crushed. So I'm going to say...
Domestic,
$220 million.
Okay, I'll say $250 million. We're hungry for Cruise.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so...
Karate Kid's Legends.
Now, I don't have a great sense of how beloved that brand is right now. This could go either way for me.
So, interestingly, The show, the Karate Kid show,
Cobra Kai.
premiered on YouTube Red. We love YouTube Red, the pay service for YouTube. And it was popular enough that it went to Netflix afterwards and became a huge hit, and they produced new seasons.
Okay.
And the seasons are just wrapping up, which maybe people are tired of it.
And do Zoomers love this?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think boomers do. Or like people that are our age.
Okay, because if it's people our age, then I don't feel too confident in this.
How did the last Karate Kid film do?
It did well. But that was a long time ago.
Okay. So 100 million?
You know what? I'm going to say 130 million.
What's funny is that like I have no basis.
There's no science.
For any of
Yeah.
I don't even know like what an average movie budget is.
So official Will Sloan prediction, Karate Kid Legends, 130 million domestic.
How about June 5th, 2025? It's finally happening. Dogma.
Oh, re-released?
Wide, it says.
$800 million domestic.
Okay, $800 million domestic.
Everyone wants to see that again.
Let's see here. Oh no, mine stops as June 9th. There's no more movies after that.
Wait, what? We have to go up and go to the...
Yeah, I have to go. Remember when Box Office Mojo used to be good?
I hate Box Office Mojo. It's such fucking bullshit.
Oh, here's one. What do you think about you may not know this film. It's called Materialists. It's the film, it's Pedro Pascal.
Oh, that's by the director of
I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, the romantic
one of the Oscar movies from like 2 years ago. Well, I think this is an A24 movie. I think this will make $20 million.
Okay, $20 million?
Yeah, that's right.
How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, where it's the same movie, literally the same, but it's live action.
Okay, well, I'm out of touch because this is baffling. And
well, they just opened a giant park in Florida that's all dedicated to How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to go against my own instincts here.
Okay.
Because
of an old man.
Because this is not for me.
No.
I don't understand why anyone would want to see this.
Yeah, why would anyone want to see this?
Which makes me think that maybe they know something I don't. So I'm gonna say $210 million.
Okay. I will say $500 million.
Okay. Domestic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There's a new Disney film coming out called Elio. Never heard of it. It's Disney Pixar. It's a Pixar movie?
Okay.
God, I am out of the loop.
I'm gonna say these Disney Pixar movies. I think it will not be released in the right cultural moment. I feel like this is a movie that was probably greenlit 5 years ago, and it's going to come out. It'll be like all those movies. I'm going to say $105 million domestic.
Okay. Yep. I will say $200 million.
Okay, that's good. Okay, F1.
I want it 28 years later. Speaking of long gap sequels,
so is that even that popular, that franchise?
I don't know.
Will people be hungry for a horror movie?
Yeah.
My prediction, 60 million.
60 million? That's reasonable. But did you know that it's a duology that they shot 2 back to back and they're releasing another one after?
When after?
I don't know. It was made by a different director. It's the director of The Marvels. We all love The Marvels, right?
Yeah, we love The Marvels. So June 27th, we have F1, the Formula One drama with Brad Pitt.
I don't think anyone cares about this. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, the guy who did Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Sorry. The one who's credited for directing Top Gun Maverick.
So I've been seeing the trailers for this one everywhere. It looks like a really normal movie. Mm-hmm. I think...
Does it have those Ford versus Ferrari legs? Are people...
Yeah.
But then people didn't want that Gran Turismo film that Neil Blomkamp directed.
Yeah, but this one has Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
This one has blockbuster swagger.
Okay.
But then it's not... Well, people love F1. You know,
but
the drive.
Enough people love F1.
Yeah, I mean, the Drive to Survive show is very popular on Netflix.
Okay,
but you're right. I don't have a sense of if this is just a cult phenomenon or if this is.
Will this be a dad movie hit?
And do kids care?
No.
Okay.
They don't care about Brad Pitt. I mean, if Mr. Beast.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna predict a flop. I'm gonna say $75 million.
It's so funny. That's a flop. The film probably cost 150, if not $200 million.
Let's say this does like what was that movie last year with Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling? The Extra Man or something? The Stunt
Free
Man.
Guy? Oh, no.
The Stunt Man.
Yeah, not Free Guy. What was it called?
It was called The Stunt Man.
No, it was not called The Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy. Yeah. That's right.
It was a Stunt Man.
Well, he played a Stunt Man.
Peter O'Toole movie?
I think
no.
So, point is, I think it's going to do similar business to that.
So, what about Megan 2.0? Blumhouse horror film, dropped as counter programming. First one was a hit.
Yeah, it wasn't that big a hit though. It was a January hit
Well, how much do you follow how much movies make?
at the time, but I don't remember exactly how much it made.
Because I don't follow it at all, other than like Sinners didn't have any drop off. I'm like, oh, that's fun.
I'm gonna say $55 million for Megan 2.
Okay, I'm gonna say $100 million.
Okay, so Jurassic World Rebirth on July 2nd.
Now this is interesting.
How big? So
These Jurassic World
they've been
films,
milking this shit for a while.
yeah, have we reached peak saturation here?
It's a good question because is the teat dry at this point?
Or is it just like
Or are people
an endless teat that will never give...
do people just like this?
Do they like this? I mean, boy, I don't know. It is a fascinating question of how much this movie will make.
Okay, I'm going to go big. I'm going to say
$500 million.
people still like this.
Yes.
So I'm going to say $320 million.
Domestic.
Yeah.
I have to say
Go lower.
$150 million domestic.
Okay, James Gunn's Superman.
Oh, interesting question.
I think it's going to have a huge opening.
Okay. Do you think it'll be good? That's the question. Will people like
I don't know.
It's not about if you like it. Will other people like it?
I think the way superhero movies are shaping up now is the established brands, the ones that people like, Batman, Deadpool, stuff like that, Spider-Man, those do really well. And I think Superman is one of those guys.
Here's the thing about Superman that I'm going to give in James Gunn's favor is that all of the superhero films that we've seen in the last 5 years, they're cynical, they're product. James Gunn, this is product, this is to start a brand, whatever. But he genuinely loved this stuff. And it's going to be a hopeful film as well.
It's being pitched as kind of, I don't want to say the anti-Man of Steel, but it's got, they're leading with that dog.
Yes, people love dogs.
And there's a lighthearted side to it that I feel like,
But you feel the studio is sweaty about this film. I believe they said, like, if this fails, like, we're done as a movie studio.
And
basically.
there have been inklings of reports of like test screenings that haven't gone that well. But
All right.
I don't know if that means anything. Listen, I'm not Mr. Showbiz here.
Well, I mean, I haven't heard these, so I guess Will's at comingsoon.net or reading Jeff Wells' blog about what the going-ons in Hollyweird.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it'll be a word of mouth thing, if anything. Because, like, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, that first movie, like, no one had any hopes of it making any money. And that's one that actually returned to #1 weeks after it, like, was released.
Here's what I think with Superman. There's going to be a huge marketing spend on this movie.
Huge! Will people be exhausted by it, though?
I think it guarantees huge opening weekend.
Okay.
I think at least $100 million opening weekend, which means...
But they wanted to make $1 billion.
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah. So
what would that be in America? Like
that would be like, well, at least 300 million.
Yeah, 300 million.
And I think they want a lot more than that.
Well, China's going to be out of the picture, so they ain't going to be making any money there these days.
So I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to say, actually, no, I'm going to go big, just like Superman would. I'm going to say $350 million. I'm going to put my chips on this being a huge hit.
I'm going to say $400 million.
Okay.
This is a question. August 1st, The Naked Gun, starring Liam Neeson.
So I saw the trailer for this movie.
Yes.
I think it looks funny.
Yeah.
And more than that, I think people
want a comedy.
People want to laugh.
They do. And I think this is a movie that people, they understand it instantly. That they're like, I know The Naked Gun. Oh, Liam Neeson in the movie.
This is a great pitch.
Yes.
It's like The Naked Gun. They cast the exact right guy to communicate the idea. Casting Liam Neeson communicates that they understand what the thing is. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think it's going to be a hit.
The trailer is pretty... Like that, like him dressed as... I didn't laugh at that.
You didn't? What about the OJ joke?
That I did laugh
That's funny.
at. That's funny.
So I'm going to say, and this is conditional, obviously, on it being good.
Like, someone sent me a link to the German trailer, which has a different end tag, and I kid you not, there is a Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter guy in that trailer. So, like, the jokes are from the 90s, but is that what we want now?
Well, it's the Lonely Island guys doing it.
I mean,
they're funny.
They're funny together. Akiva Schaffer, who I'm sure is a very funny guy. I wish him the best. He also directed The Watch. Remember that Ben Stiller alien movie? He also directed that Chip and Dale movie that went to Disney Plus.
So the brand is strong.
Yes.
The pitch is strong.
The confines they're working within give them a lot of opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't.
It's been a long time since a comedy has
had a hit.
Has been released.
What is a comedy hit in theaters though?
I don't think there's been one in years.
Yeah, like $200 million.
What did Bridesmaids made?
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, that's the last one I can fucking think of.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, what's a comedy hit in theaters? I'm going to say $130 million. I think that's realistic, and I think that's on the outer edge of what a comedy would make nowadays.
Yeah. All right. And
I think it has the potential to be much bigger or much lower.
if it's really funny, I feel like it's a movie people will recommend to each other and they'll go see.
If it's really funny, it could be a runaway smash.
Yeah. I would love for that to happen.
Hey, we all want that.
What would that lead to if like a movie like that is a huge hit? Do what are the two guys' names that did like Not Another Teen Movie and stuff like that?
Oh, Friedberg and Seltzer.
Do they like open their crypt doors and like come back out?
I hope so. We need them more than ever.
Because like someone on a podcast was talking. So this is like seventh generation telephone. They were just explaining the ending of one of these movies where they're like, and then someone takes a shit and puppets of the chipmunks show up, and then you have like a Paris Hilton impersonator show up. Like, it's like, this sounds funny. All these things coming together. We need that. We need movies that are basing their gags on the trailers for movies that have not come out yet, like Hancock.
Yeah,
that
Hancock.
disaster movie has a lot of Hancock jokes in it, based solely on the trailer.
And now I have one last one to tie up summer movie season. Freakier Friday. August 8th.
A movie no one asked for.
Well, millennial nostalgia.
Yeah.
How strong is
Mean
this
Girls
brand?
the musical was a hit,
That's right.
based on millennial nostalgia.
I think there are a lot of people around our age who grew up with Freaky Friday. Lohan and Curtis are back.
They're back. One of them, Academy Award winner.
Those fucking Lindsay Lohan movies on Netflix. Trillions of people watch
Trillions.
those. Yeah.
So what does that mean dollar-wise, though, Will?
Well, so it's somebody who, like, she's back. She's had a fairly successful comeback, and she's now back in a brand that people love.
So this is like The Odd Couple 2 of this brand.
So I think...
But people want it.
I don't know. I can imagine a world where people do want this.
Okay.
The problem is, all these movies we've mentioned, with the exception of The Naked Gun, I don't want any of them. I don't want any of these movies. So it's hard for me to predict.
Yes.
I'm trying to put my head in the headspace of some hypothetical
So you're
audience.
rating the movies you would go see in theaters. Naked Gun.
And that's it.
You'll see Superman in theaters.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll see that.
And then
Karate Kid, because Jackie's
we're
in it.
definitely going to see that together. Yeah. What if Jackie only shows up in like the last 5 minutes?
You might.
Yep.
So anyway, but getting back to Freakier Friday, like Superman, I'm an optimist. I want
You believe in the greater good.
Yeah, I think $140 million.
$140 million.
Yeah. Now people can laugh at me for this later if it flops, but I'm putting
And
my
to that I would say, who are you?
I'm putting my where's your podcast? There's a reason you're listening to me and I'm not listening to you. So I'm putting all my chips on millennial nostalgia working.
I think there's a lot of millennial nostalgia. So we'll see. Freaky Friday, 150. I'm going to say $200 million.
$200 million.
No, I'm going to go the opposite. $50 million.
$50 million?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
people are looking at it like, do I want to see Freakier Friday?
So those are our predictions. Summer movie season, a lot of hits on the horizon.
Yeah, we're gonna see them all. But did you say last year, like, I want to become an August guy? That I see like the August movie. There's nothing coming out.
I love August movies.
Did you end up seeing the last of the Dimitri?
Wait, what was
the
that?
vampire on a boat movie? That's
the Dracula on the boat movie.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay.